Here to talk about it, Gregory T. Angelo, president of the Log Cabin Republicans. Gregory, welcome to Trending Today USA. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me on the show. I wish it was under different circumstances, but I appreciate you inviting me on nonetheless.
I appreciate it. Now, one of the things that I've said for a while, and maybe you disagree with me, while conservatives may not agree with the marriage situation with gays, we certainly are your best friend when it comes to security and safety.
I agree with that.
Yeah, okay. What is your take on what happened on Sunday here? Obviously, you're upset.
Yeah, of course, and I think it's important. I never want to lose sight of this, right? Like, start these segments by, just first and foremost saying that our sorrow, our sadness, our thoughts and prayers go out to every one of those victims of this act of radical Islamic terrorism that took place on Sunday, and also their family and friends who are in mourning right now.
Yes.
But when we talk about what happened there, it was an act of radical Islamic terrorism. And it wasn't just an act of radical Islamic terrorism. It was an act of radical Islamic terrorism that specifically targeted the gay community, not just in Orlando, but in the United States. And the fact that you have many, if not most on the left, can't call this for what it is. It's not just a hate crime. It's not just an attack on the LGBT community. It's an attack on the LGBT Americans by radical Islamic terrorists, and that should send a chill down the spine of anyone, regardless of their sexual orientation, regardless of their political party affiliation. It should send a chill down your spine because these people want Americans, freedom-loving Americans, dead. And that's the takeaway from what happened on Sunday.
Well, there's also a hierarchy in the murder list. They've got a list of who they hate most. They're going to go for the person, the apostate first, the guy that says, "Oh, I'm a moderate Muslim." Well, you can't be a moderate Muslim. We're going to kill you. Then they're going for the gays. Yeah. Then they're going for Christians. I mean, there's a list. And for some reason, the gay community for a long time has been the let's coexist, let's all get along. If we just give them a little more love, they're going to love us back. I don't know what they're thinking.
Well, what you're seeing right now is what a politically correct society perpetuates, right? It's not just a message of peace and love, but it's a willful ignorance of the fact that evil exists in this world. Evil whose end is the perpetuation of violence and literal execution of non-believers, as you said, apostates, people who do not adhere to the brand of fundamental Islam that the radical terrorists adhere to. And I think it's important to point out as well that this is not, this attack was not perpetuated by just someone because they happen to be Muslim. And we in Log Cabin Republicans, we don't just represent LGBT Republicans, but we're trying to advance a more inclusive Republican Party. And I think it's important to point out that there are Muslims of goodwill out there, and what we're calling out are radical Islamists, right? People who practice a radical brand of the Islamic faith that literally preaches death for homosexuals, that discriminates against religious minorities, that targets religious minorities for execution, and that exhibits something that goes even beyond mere misogyny, but treats women as second-class citizens in this world.
Okay, let me ask you something that's completely different, but it's been on everybody's mind since before this. Bruce Jenner was a good friend of mine. Now, obviously, he's not Bruce anymore. It seems to have really gone quickly towards an unraveling in some ways. The gender, neutral bathrooms, these kind of things. Is it going too fast, or do you like the direction it's going in?
Well, I think that we've kind of hit a curious moment in these culture wars here in the United States. And, let's just use what's happening right now in North Carolina as a touchstone for all of this, right? North Carolina that passed a law that said you need to have you can only use a restroom that corresponds with the gender that is indicated on your driver's license or other documentation. To my knowledge, there wasn't any sort of spike in criminal activity that transgender individuals were perpetuating in restrooms in North Carolina. Neither did large, to what I know, did the transgender community or people who identify as transgender, people like Caitlyn Jenner, do they have any difficulty using the restroom of their choice in North Carolina? So, I mean, like, the bigger picture here, Rusty, is like, we're at a point in the United States where we're debating, like, which bathroom do people get to use, and then you turn around and there's an attack by radical Islamic terrorists on the LGBT community in the country. Let's prioritize. Right?
But do you not see a connection there? I certainly see a connection. I think that they're looking at America. They see Bruce Jenner. They see, that we're having people going into different bathrooms and stuff and going, see, that is the nest of Satan. Is that possible?
I mean, will radical Islamists look at the United States and the freedoms we enjoy and say it's the nest of the devil? Yeah, and they're going to do that regardless of what our stance is on LGBT rights or the transgender community or same-sex couples engaging in civil marriage partnerships. Mm-hmm. I mean, they want us dead, Rusty. Like it doesn't, I mean, we can. And I'm not going to be an apologist for radical Islamists on your show or anywhere else.
No, I'm just asking.
Well, okay. Now I totally understand why these attacks took place because they should never have taken place, and they're just trying to make an example of not just the LGBT people, but trying to make an example for all Americans.
Gregory, I appreciate it. Give me your website, the place that you would like folks to go online.
Sure, our website, logcabin.org. You can find us on Twitter at logcabingop and also on Facebook. Search for Log Cabin Republican.
And do you get discounts on log cabin syrup?
I wish. I love pancakes, but no, alas.
All right, Gregory T. Angelo, thanks for being here on Trend.